slap in the face. So that's what triggered Illinois to go earlier more than anything, I think, is not saying personal vendetta, just clearly we're not going to listen. And let's keep in mind, in Chicago, we're kind of independent individuals. And I respect that. I love this place. But there's not a panic vibe in there. It's very quiet. It's very kind of keeping distance and no hostility. There's no real just negative feel in there. It's for the first time, in my opinion, one of the times, and this is just a broad statement, that we're all in this together. And I think we're slowly starting to figure that out. We're also learning that we're very independent and free people, which is awesome. That's what we are. But I think we'll learn from this that sometimes we do got to shut the hell up and listen. They're not really like quote unquote rationing anything that I can tell up until about a day or two ago. And that's just more, 2 gallons of milk. I think I grabbed a pork butt yesterday to roast, and I think there was max one of those because that's a big chunk of meat that can feed 10 people for $8. So, but it seems like it's as normal as I probably guessed it would have been.
What are your thoughts on the California governor's letter to the president saying that 56% of the population will be infected?
I think that's common sense, accurate, and I think that's what at least I've thought, and the people around me have thought nationwide. I mean, if you go ask anybody that I've been talking to over the last week, locally or giving my output, I've always said 150 million are going to get it, which is half the country, and that's coming off of whatever stat I saw. But I believe it. I mean, it's just reality. But I'd say, if I had to guess, expect to get it. It's going to happen. We're going to lose millions of people. Yep. It's going to happen.
Okay, what about the economic hit about to come? Now, you didn't think it would be that bad, that we'll bounce back quickly. Now, keep in mind that it took us 10 years to get back to the level, just leveling out economically after 2008.
Yeah, I would agree. It's going to be a hit. But, me and you were talking on the phone a little bit earlier. I don't think... both of us are all mortgage guys. We went through it. We worked for HSBC. We get it. And I was a kid at the time, but I studied up. I learned news. I learned how banking works while going through that and the bigger picture of it. And there's this massive underlying problem back then. It was just a sleeping giant nobody knew about, other than the people that made it happen. And I remember being a 22-year-old kid trying to tell a 50-year-old how to refinance his house, literally not even knowing what the word mortgage meant. And I knew more about the fact that he had an adjustable rate mortgage than he did. And that was common for all the way up until 8, 9. I bet 80% of the people, and I wrote $25, $30 billion of loans, 80% of them that came across an arm didn't know it. So we have that problem. This time it's a virus.
Hey, Joe, as you know, we do the show in real time. I do have some real-time updates for us here. It looks like Canada and Australia are both backing out of the Olympic Games if they aren't delayed this year, if the games are not delayed because of the pandemic, officials said just a few minutes ago. In a statement, the Canadian Olympic Committee said it was urgently calling on groups to organize the games to postpone the event for a year. They said it's not solely about athlete health, it's about public health. Oh, man. Now the Olympics? How much money do you think they spent on the Olympics getting that ready this year? Yeesh. Is it too early to make that call?
Absolutely think so. I don't think any major decision like that should be made for 2-3 weeks. Really, how do you make a decision about 4 months from now when in 2 weeks from now everything's back to normal potentially? Wait those 2 weeks. There's no reason to make that call now. And for athletes to pull out, and I haven't really dug a ton into it, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense that anybody's making decisions about 4 months from now.
I disagree with you on the economy, but we can debate that another time. Hey, I'm so glad to hear that you guys were ahead of the curve on keeping your employees home and being proactive. A vote to advance the massive coronavirus stimulus bill failed just moments ago. The jackasses in the Senate can't seem to come together and get a compromise yet again for the common good of the people, as negotiations have failed. Republicans who needed 60 votes to move forward on their bill weren't able to win over any Democrats, meaning that there's no aid now, including checks to individuals, help for small businesses, and bailouts for big corporations. Until a deal is reached, we're not doing anything, just stalling.
Yeah, that's frustrating. That's really frustrating.
I say get your asses back in there, burn some midnight oil, and get some money out.
Agreed. It's pretty ridiculous. At least the human element side of it. I get the business business side of it, but I mean, the easiest part that we do know needs to happen is put some cash in the working man's hand and just everybody's hand for a minute. That part of it, just get that done, deal with the corporate side immediately right after. But the one people that can survive for a day without a decision is companies. And I hate to say that because obviously they drive everything, but you need an American population that works. Just some confidence that you are going to also look out for them. You absolutely need to do that, and that shouldn't be that tough. Set everybody $1,000 for now. Talk about it again in a week if you need to do more, but just put something out there, something.
Agreed. Joe, I appreciate your input and perspective from Chicago. Be safe, and we'll talk soon.
You too, man.
You know, the overwhelming majority of people I have talked to today have bluntly stated and accepted the fact that, hey, we're all probably going to get infected. Lots of people are going to die. And their attitude is best to stay level-headed, move forward. Joe, mid-30s. My sister, mid-30s. My brother, mid-30s. Seems the 30-somethings have embraced the sickness, and they're ready to go back to work and save this economy. They've all mentioned it. Is that the answer? Do we just accept that we're all going to get sick and a lot of us are going to die? You know, I came across a video today after reading an article about Larry Brilliant. Interesting. Unlikely as it is inspirational, he's proven worthy of his surname, Brilliant. He was trained as a doctor. He was living in a Himalayan monastery. This back in the early 1970s. And his guru told him he should help rid the world of smallpox. So, he went out, he joined the World Health Organization's eradication project. He directed efforts to eliminate the disease in India and eventually presided over the last case of smallpox on the planet. But that's not all. He wasn't content with that, with just beating a single disease. So he founded the nonprofit Seva Foundation, and that has cured more than 2 million people of blindness in 15 different countries. Now, outside the medical field, he found time to co-found the legendary online community called The Well. You may have heard of it. And he's also run 2 public tech companies. Time and Wired magazines called him a technology visionary. His 2006 TED Prize, which drew on both sides of his career, he challenged the TED community to help him build a global early response system to spot a new disease as quickly as they emerge. It's called INSTEAD, with the TED in there. The system has grown into a network of 100 digital detection partners, and they provide tools. They help the UN, the WHO, and the CDC all track potential pandemics. But the video I came across wasn't recent. It was from 2006, and it's chilling.
The key to preventing or mitigating pandemic bird flu is early detection and rapid response. We will not have a vaccine or adequate supplies of an antiviral to combat bird flu if it occurs in the next 3 years. WHO stages the progress of a pandemic.
Now keep in mind, folks, this was 2006.
The moment WHO says we've moved to Category 4, this will not be like Katrina. The world as we know it will stop. There'll be no airplanes flying. Would you get in an airplane with 250 people you didn't know coughing and sneezing when you knew that some of them might carry a disease that could kill you, for which you had no antivirals or vaccine? I did a study of the top epidemiologists in the world in October. I asked them, these are all fluologists and specialists in influenza, and I asked them the questions you'd like to ask them. What do you think the likelihood is that there'll be a pandemic? If it happens, how bad do you think it'll be? 15% said they thought there'd be a pandemic within 3 years. But much worse than that, 90% said they thought there'd be a pandemic within your children or your grandchildren's lifetime. And they thought that if there was a pandemic, 1 billion people would get sick. As many as 165 million people would die. There would be a global recession and depression as our just-in-time inventory system and the tight rubber band of globalization broke, and the cost to our economy of $1 to $3 trillion would be far worse for everyone than merely 100 million people dying, because so many more people would lose their job and their health care benefits that the consequences are almost unthinkable.
And that's where we ask the question, what is it worth? The 30-somethings we've talked today said what? Let's get back to work. The Nevada governor's statement today reflects some of the same sentiment. The governor stated that we don't have to guess what comes next. The rapid increase in positive cases will continue. The number of cases aren't slowing down, and we haven't even reached our apex. He indicated that Nevada does not have enough test kits and that there is an indefinite backlog. An indefinite backlog of any future shipments from the federal government. Now, this is our unfortunate reality. Nevada, quote unquote, it's happening whether we want it to or not. Is the answer to embrace it? Prepare for the absolute worst? Hope for the best? Let people go back to work? Let kids go back to school? Do we just roll the dice? We just say F it? And do what we can now to save the economy? Go back to work. Open your businesses. Is that what we do? The younger generation seems to think, hey, look, you're going to get it. Some people are going to die, but I need to go to work. Chew on that today, and then sleep on it tonight. Stay informed. You've been listening to Chad on Demand.